story to tell you, but we're just going to go for a bit of a ride down to our offices. So let's go for a ride. Come on. Okay, hey guys, how you going? Just going for a cruise down to the finder.com.au offices here, and on the way, but I've got a great story to tell you, and it's a really important story when it comes to internet business, and it's actually a story I've never really told anyone. It's a story my family regale a lot. So anyway, I was quite a tinkerer when I was 6 years old. I used to pull apart all my dad's electronics, you know, like voice recorders, things like that. And because he was a doctor, so he had lots of little gadgets around. Anyway, so one day I was pulling apart this voice recorder and I needed a bit of cable. And I was looking around my room, and as a 6-year-old, I had a little electric clock. And I took that electric clock and I looked at it, and it was obviously on, and then behind it obviously had a cable into the wall. And I thought, well, you know what I could do? I could probably get that cable and cut a little piece out of it. So I thought, well, you know, this thing is plugged in, it is on, so may as well see what happens. You know, what's the big deal? I don't know why everyone talks about, you know, things being on and them being plugged in. So I got a pair of pliers and I literally cut the cable in the places that I wanted, and it sparked up like a really like got pretty intense. And I freaked out, and this was really early in the morning. I ran into my parents' room, and when I was in there, I was crying. I was just crying. They were like, what's the matter? You know, I'd just woken up, and it was early in the morning. And they said to me, you know, I said, oh, you know, I broke the clock. They were like, oh, what happened? And they came in to my room, and they saw that I literally cut the cable of the electric clock. And they freaked out quite a bit, and they said, are you okay? And I said, you know, I'm fine. And it was only because the actual pliers had rubber on them that I survived. I actually, you know, made it to through that ordeal. And what's instructive about that, but is that just like how I cut that cable. Imagine right now if I went to you and said, hey, you know, do you see that laptop cable that's connected into your, you know, the power cable into your laptop? Do you want to just go and like cut that? Here's a pair of pliers. I'm assuming no one would want to do that, but now imagine the gall of a 6-year-old going, hey, why don't I just cut that cable and see what happens? And that's the kind of testing. That is the kind of testing I have done with all of my ideas all throughout my life. Everything that I do, I've practically gone and done and tested, used my own money, tried it with my own technology, done it with my own people. These are the things that I do. These aren't theories that I go through. The things that I do are tested. Now, what's instructive about that, and what's important, is that it leads me to something that's really, really important, and that's the 3 big myths about what makes a successful internet business. Now, the first big myth is this: that a business success, your idea, your internet business, its success is determined by how much funding it has. Now, let me tell you right now, there are loads of businesses out there with lots of funding. Lots of VC companies have poured lots and lots of money into them that are going to fail and do fail, and you don't hear about them. That doesn't determine success. Second big myth is that if a market's really cluttered, there's lots and lots of competitors, you can't enter that market. Now, that's just not true, because when Finder started, we literally were flooded with competitors. There were people doing the exact same business that we were doing. But we went ahead and tested that and found some ways to make that work. And slowly over time, we've built this business up to what it is today. Now, the third big myth is that your idea needs to be the most brilliant idea ever. It needs to be the next Google or whatever it may be, or the next genius idea. Now, let me tell you right now that there are acres and acres of diamonds in the internet right now for problems which aren't that sexy and aren't that original. They're probably already out there. And those businesses are going to be the next big businesses. They solve the same problems, just do them really, really well. It's not about the idea, it's fundamentals. Now, what it leads me to is this. It's the core truth about the success of your internet business. And the success of your internet business is determined by one thing. It's about how rigorously you have tested your business. Now that's so important. That is so important. Let me just get my pass here, because we're going to hop into this parking. Let me say that again because it's crucial. The success of your internet business is determined by how much and how well and how effectively you test it. Don't pour lots and lots of money into a business until you've tested it. Spend $100, spend up to $500 and test it. But let me tell you right now, that is going to determine, directly, proportionately determine the success of your business. Now what I'm going to do, hey guys, how you going? It's 356. Probably later on tonight. So, yeah. Thanks, man. No worries. Let me just tell you right now, the crucial thing here is I'm going to teach you the 4 steps that you need to take to test your business. So let's just park up behind this Honda here and we'll go and hop on upstairs to the Finder offices and we'll teach you about the 4 steps. Cool. See you soon, guys. We are just at the Finder offices and busy at the war room now. Now what I'm going to teach you is the 4 steps that I use to test internet business idea. Alright, so number 1 is to figure out the problem. What is the actual problem that you are trying to solve for the customer? Now, you might think, oh, you know, let's just say, for example, we're building a business that's about you know, giving people a lift to work or something like that. Let's say, like, you know, you want a car share, whatever it may be. Now, you may think the actual problem is about, you know, figuring out where all the cars are on the map. Maybe it's about the payments, those kind of things. No, that's not actually the problem. The actual problem, so the boiled down problem of what you need to solve is what you need to figure out. And with that case, it's about that person getting from A to B. So what you need to do, you need to boil it down to the simplest problem. That is the core. That is the actual first step. Once you figure that out, because then it's really easy to solve. Once you know it's the simple problem, the next thing you need to do, this is step 1. Step 2 is you get that problem and you build a prototype. Now, a prototype doesn't have to be like purely finished and designed and beautiful and all those kinds of things. What it needs to be is just good enough to solve the problem. So let's just say, for example, you're again trying to build a car sharing business. So let's say I drive from, you know, Bondi to the city each day, and when I do that, imagine I wanted to pick some people up on the way, and maybe they're going to give me a few dollars. Now, imagine for that business, right? Well, what is the actual solution? What's a potential prototype I could do? Well, let's break it down. What we could do is we could maybe just go, say, to Gumtree, and we could post an ad and say, look, I'm driving from Bondi to the city. Does anyone want to lift? It'll cost you $2. And you you draw your route as to where you're going to go, and people can just follow it. Now that is a core prototype. It's rough. It doesn't have an app. It's going to cost you like 15 minutes of your time to write it. Maybe draw a little picture of those kinds of things, and you just get people to answer on your phone. But that's a small prototype. That's a small rawest test. Let's say, another example, let's say you wanted to build an online store. If you're going to build an online store, don't go and speak to a web developer. Just go out and buy an off-the-shelf shopping cart. Put your product on there and try and market and sell it. That's going to cost you $50. That's a prototype. That's all you need. That's all you need to do the test experiment. If you were going to write a website about some new diet or something like that, you've written a new book, just write an ebook and put it on Amazon. Don't bother building the whole website. Don't build the whole Fandangle thing. Just build a prototype that's just enough to get it done. Get it done. That's the core, if you can just solve that problem. Right. Now that you've got your prototype up and running, what you need to do, step 3, is you need to market it. Now the easiest way to do that from the very beginning is to send an email to some of your friends. You may you may buy some AdWords on Google, or you might put some posters up. Whatever it takes to get a few people to interact with your prototype and potentially buy it is all you need. Now, step 4 is, throughout that process, what you need is you need data. So mainly what you want to get is some sort of report, a report on the metrics from your problem, a metrics on your prototype, and a metrics on your market, and how many actual sales you made. So that's obviously the core metric. Now, the things you want to figure out with your problem is you're going to ask your customer, hey, how did it go? Email them back. If someone bought, email them and say, hey, why'd you buy? What did you think of it? How did it work for you? Those kind of things. Get that feedback. Number 2, with your prototype, what you want to do is ask them again, the customer, about the prototype and say, hey, what else could we have done with this prototype? What other features could we have added? What other things could we have done? Number 3, with your marketing, just see what the results were. What was your click-through rate? What was your number of people that went through to it? How long did they spend on the site? Those kind of metrics. Basic metrics, which I know you can get from Google Analytics and those kind of things. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about the basic way to get this test done. Get it up and running. Number 4, from that data, what you then need to go ahead and do is check out whether or not it worked. Did you make $1 of profit? That's the core. If you can make $1 of profit, you can make 2. If you can make 2, you can make 4. If you can make 4, I'm sure you can make 10, 100. That's exactly how I started Finder, with a little blog. I made $1, and I made 2, 5, 10, 50, 100, 1,000, etc., 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 etc. That's the exact same way it's going to work for you. So, I hope you've enjoyed this 4-step play to actually getting your tests off the ground. Now, I've got another video coming up. Now, what this video is going to do is it's going to give you a real-life me on my computer. I'll show you the tools I use to do these tests. I'm going to give you my best way of testing your business. And we're going to go and I'm going to give that to you. It's coming up. So like this video, share it around, let me know what you think. And obviously good luck with all your tests out there.